Praveen.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Himanshu.
Sir, your camera is having some blur, I think, sir. Camera. Your visibility is blur, actually.
Pardon?
What we can see is any issue with the bandwidth. I'm not sure. Is it correct?
Looks like some problem could be there, but I think internet is okay.
Okay.
Is there a major issue?
Now it's clear, sir. Now it's clear.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Good. How many we are getting? How many delegates coming here?
Good afternoon, sir. Sandeep here. We got around,
Hi, Sandeep.
sir. We got around 450 registrations for this, and currently around 35-40 has joined, and the number is shooting up, sir.
Very good. Very good. You would let me know when we get into some reasonably good number. Okay. So Puneet will be coordinating, no?
Yes, sir. Puneet moderating.
As Jaideep joined.
Yeah, joined. Jaideep joined, sir. Jaideep Saptarishi.
But I don't see him there. I don't see his video. Jaideep is not there. So the Puneet is not there.
I'm there, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. I can't see her. Yeah, it's okay. Good. What about Krishna Priya?
Krishna Priya would be joining in a minute or so, sir.
Okay.
Jaideep joins, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Jaideep. I'm here. I've joined already.
Hi, Jaideep. How are
It's
you?
fine. Yeah, I'm great, sir.
Good. I want to be sure that all our speakers are there for the program. That's more important. Good. I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Any issue with Krishna Priya, Vivek?
Krishna Priya?
Some kind of issue with the WebEx, and she's fixing up, and will be in a minute or two.
Yeah. So what we should do is, in case that's getting delayed, let Jaideep speak first, and then Krishna Priya can speak later.
Yes,
Okay.
sir, absolutely. I think we should start, sir, in 1 minute. Couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Himanshu, I'm going to share the video. Sandeep, would request if you could do this the Dr. Jain's movie.
Yeah, when you say to share it, I'll do that.
Yeah. Right.
Puneet, you can share the opening slide meanwhile.
Yeah. Himanshu, am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir, Miss Krishna Priya has joined. Sir, good afternoon, Krishna Priya.
Hi. Deshi.
Can you unmute Krishna Priya and speak, please?
Oh yeah. Hi. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
I can't see you.
Sir,
Where are you? Hi. Hi, Krishna Priya. How are you? Good afternoon.
I'm doing great, Mr. Suresh. How are you?
Good. Excellent.
Hi.
Excellent.
Hi.
So all our speakers are there. Wonderful.
sir, should we go live?
I think so what about the number? Where are we, Sandeep?
Sir, we just crossed 60 and it is going very fast. We can start the session, sir, with your permission.
Oh, yes.
Right. Himanshu, can you make it live? Himanshu, please confirm whether it is live or not.
It is live now.
Yeah. Thank you, Himanshu. Thank you, everyone. Very good afternoon to all of you. to all the speaker panelists and all the participants who have joined us today on this national webinar on a green waste.
Live. It is live.
Himanshu, should we?
Please go ahead, Puneet.
Yeah. So whenever we talk about the waste management or the planning of waste management, what may first come to mind is developed by us, all the trashes, what we do in a day-to-day basis. However, buildings generate waste well before even the ground is broken. It starts with the design firm's office by way of discarded drawings. Throughout its development and operations, buildings generates tons and tons of waste. And when the building reaches to its end of life, demolition will generate even more waste. In today's session, we would deliberate on how these waste can be minimized with the available frameworks, technologies, and system solutions. The whole objective of the session is to bring a system which will not send a penny to the landfill and convert all of them to the valuable resources. Now today, I was being joined by Mr. V. Suresh, Chairman, Indian Green Building Council, Architect Praveen Soma, Senior Councillor, IGBC, Ms. Krishna Priya, Senior Manager, Sahas Zero Waste, and Mr. Jaideep, who's been from the Vermigold Ecotech Private Limited. Now, with such a powerful, impactful panel, we'll start our program. But before that, I would request you to take in your arms and then have a look at a very brief video, a tribute to Dr. Prem Chand. I'd request Sandeep to please share the video.
Audio. Puneet, audio.
So checking, sir.
We are not able to get audio at all.
Passion, minimum possession, humility, and selfless giving.
Puneet, there's no audio.
Sir, a bandwidth challenge, it looks like, sir.
You're hearing?
Thank you, Sandeep, and I'm extremely sorry for the glitches what some of us have foreseen about the non-audibility of the video which has been played, and we would be sharing the link to you if it's been needed. I'm sorry for that, because currently we have been working in such a techno-friendly environment, but sometimes certain glitches used to happen. With this, let me take it forward, the program. And here I would like to invite Mr. V. Suresh. Mr. V. Suresh, the Chairman of Indian Green Building Council, having an expertise of more than 5 decades in a housing, infrastructure, rural, urban development, real estate, and a built environment sector, leading to the sustainable development. He has served HUDCO in various capacities and was its CMD. He is the one who's the Vice Chairman of National Building Code of India and Chairman of Housing Sectional Committee and member of Smart City Committee of Bureau of Indian Standard. Without taking much time, I would request Mr. V. Suresh for the keynote address. Sir.
Thank you, Puneet. A very happy good afternoon to all the distinguished delegates who are participating in this national webinar on the net zero waste in buildings on the occasion of the Harit Prem Bharat Mahotsav 2022 program, which has just started. The whole week is starting, and we're remembering Dr. Premsi Jain, our past chairman, very respected, very revered leader on the green building movement. And we have come a long way under his green path that he has laid for all of us to work on. And IGBC and the Prem Jain Memorial Trust, which has been started by Renu Jain and Payal Jain subsequent to Dr. Jain's demise. And it conveys the love for sustainability and Mother Nature through week-long celebration we are planning from the 23rd to 28th every year. And of course, this will be part of the birthday celebrations of Dr. Jain on the 26th of January. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Jain's vision covered in the IGBC's growth is a very important thing. It's IGBC, part of the World Green Building Council, 70 odd countries there. Our commitment to sustainability is absolutely clear, and our own vision is to enable a sustainable built environment for all and facilitate India to be leader, one of the global leaders by 2025. And obviously, all that has happened because of the continuous amount of effort that we have had through over 30 rating system for all asset class of buildings and the built environment, which is city, as well as the towns, as well as villages and all that you want there, in line with the sustainable development goal. This has been framed over there. And more importantly, we got all the aspect for the sustainable development covered in a large way with the support for over 28 chapters. And I'm very happy we have a special welcome to all the students who are participating, because we have 320 student chapters which has come from different parts of the country, architecture schools, engineering colleges, and technology institutions in a large way, and over 5,660 accredited professionals joining over there. We're happy that the green building movement has done the right level of impact in terms of substantial amount of saving of the construction demolition waste, over roughly 2.5 per annum of waste that would have normally gone into landfill. The saving that has come on that, organic waste about 3 lakh tons per annum is treated on site, equal to 3 months organic waste coming from a city like Bangalore, and energy saving of over 15 billion tons that can really take care of 41 million village household, and 46 billion liters saved. This will also be taking care of major cities 2 months water requirement, and carbon dioxide reduction is substantially less, 8.1 million tons reduced as a result of our effort, equal to about 9 million cars not being on the road. And therefore, our commitment on water management, energy management, waste management, carbon footprint reduction is enshrined in the DNA of our work for sustainable development. And our commitment towards the climate goal agenda, along with the World Green Building Council, is substantial. And we are extremely happy that we launched the Net Zero mission on the 22nd of April last year on the World Earth Day. Our idea is to join with various stakeholders, and 300 signatories already come towards the Net Zero mission agenda of IGBC, and that's because we have a separate rating for the IGBC Net Zero water, net zero energy, net zero waste, which is our topic that's coming here, and also net zero carbon. And the Honorable Prime Minister of India has already laid in COP26 the whole agenda that we should do towards achieving all our goals, which are not only short term, medium term, or 2030, and to have the net zero energy by 50% of our energy to be based on non-fossil based component of 5 gigawatt of energy to come in over there. And in the Independence Day address, he specifically talked in terms of stop the use of single-use plastic bags, and the Honorable Prime Minister launched the vehicle scrappage policy also, which promotes circular economy. And it is really indicates the type of commitment that's at the highest level which has come in this particular area. And our whole challenge is how to change the mindset of the stakeholder. I always believe waste management is an issue where if you're going to change the landscape of your country, the mindscape of the people, the users, be it in business, be it in production or manufacture or use or retail or anywhere the waste that's generated has come, we got to see that they are rightly treated over there. And this is an organized sector. And how do you really organize it properly? How do you segregate? How do you handle it? How do you transport it? How do you treat it? How do you recycle it? And use every drop of every piece of the waste that's coming over there to be utilized in the best possible way. And therefore, our net zero waste rating that has come over there, and which has been launched during the Green Building Congress, document prepared very well under the chairmanship of Mr. Anup Matthew, business head of Godrej Construction, is a very important milestone document. And we are extremely happy that it's already catching substantial amount of acceptance all over the country in a very large way. And the very fact that we are doing it on the occasion of the Harit Prem Bharat Mahotsav, there's the net zero waste as the main theme in this particular component there. And I'm very happy to share that they are bringing out a wonderful document, use plastic-free campus to be brought in over there. This will be the 27th when we have the PJMT's main event. And this has been the excellent inputs from students of various campuses in a way. And that's also a very positive way, excellent tool that can go along with this particular implementation aspect. To close with corporation's job, resident affairs society, etc., etc. I was mentioning about 3 weeks back, while I was in the hill areas of Neil, found the impact that's come over the moment you Parliament before you Kunnur, clear case that no plastic can be brought into it on the hill area. Simla started its way, so Kunnur, all those areas, and there's a fantastic amount of contribution coming, or the effect by the builders and developers through Credite's initiative for the waste management is very important. Based on citizen-based approach, Nirmal in Tamil Nadu has done a great job in the waste segregation in a very large way of all resident welfare associations and taking it forward for further treatment. So you require not only the citizens of the community in a very large way, and also the responsibility that producers can do of responsibility from their own particular side on waste management related issue. My own idea is that we got to have waste. The waste terminology has got to go out of mind. Our whole thing should come to waste to wealth, refuse to resource, or trash to cash. Every aspect of that particular waste, biodegradable or non-biodegradable or various other things, every aspect of that has got to be completely utilized fully. That's exactly what you mean by net zero waste in a very large way. And I'm very happy that these cover all the phases of design, construction, operation phases, as well as in large building projects. And we have taken this waste management component in all our rating system, also in a large way dealing with the buildings and city development agenda. And we'll be very happy to offer support from the IGBC side of free feasibility study for net zero waste to identify and understand key areas of improvement that can be done in this particular segment. This contains, as I said, all the issue on what can happen in the land, on water, air, and how can you really see that the waste management component comes as an important area. And you know that the Swachh Bharat Mission program, which was 1.0 vision. That's one more program which is going for 2.0 vision of waste management is coming in a very large way in that particular segment also. And I'm very happy, therefore, the IGBC, along with the, as part of the Prem Jain Memorial Trust, we are doing this program as part of the Harit Prem Bharat Mahotsav event, coming with good participation coming from the student communities and all stakeholders. I find from the background of people who are today hearing this presentation, we're going to have brilliant three presentations from three youngsters over there. I use the word young, and I want the very fact that they are going to talk. I'm very happy because you'll have Praveen Kumar Soma, our senior counselor, who has been working very closely on the Green Pro work, as well as on net zero waste, will talk. And Ms. Krishna Priya and Jaideep Saptarshi would be able to indicate their own initiatives that they have done in this particular segment in a very large way. And together with a good Q&A session, we'll be able to have a good interactive one. We have enough of time to work on it. So let's aim to convert every building and city to become net zero waste by 2030. And all this would help to meet our sustainable development goal by 2030 and the climate goals agenda, even though of net zero is 2050 globally. China does it 2060 and India has put us 2070. Our idea is all the work action has to start now or yesterday, and that's already done. And we are working towards that particular thing to see how by the time the SDG goals of 2030 are coming, just about 8 years from now, we would have substantially arrived at the framework for doing all that, the right mechanism, right strategies, the capacities and capabilities at various levels. It's primarily at the end of the day, a public, private, people's partnership. Everybody has got to put their best inputs together to make the net zero waste management a success. I want to give all the very best wishes to the team, because at the end of the day, we are all going to contribute to make our country decarbonize India, and we should all lead from the front in that direction. And thank you very much, Puneet, for calling me over to speak a few words on this topic. I'm eagerly looking forward to the inputs coming from all the distinguished speakers, and possibly we should have some good Q&A coming at the end with the inputs on these presentations, my own views as well. Thank you very much. Let's proceed with the program now.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your inspiring thoughts, and they would certainly motivate us to take this discussion in the right direction, so that all of us would be benefited by investing. So it's a good 90 minutes over here. Thank you very much, sir. With this, we have been moving to the technical session, and it is my pleasure to invite my colleague, Mr. Praveen Kumar Soma, who's having more than 21 years of experience in the sustainable and built environment, have been facilitated more than 800 green building projects and conducted 75 green building training programs. He has been the key person who has been leading the activities at IGBC when it comes to the net zero waste. So over to you, Praveen. We're having a good 28 minutes with you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just sharing my screen. Once it is there, please confirm me. I'm putting in full screen.
Yeah, now come.
Thank you so much. Is it clear? Visible?
Yeah, very clear.
Yes,
Very
yes.
clear.
Thank you, everyone, all the audience who are actually listening to this particular special session by Dr. Prem Jain. We actually do this consecutive program every year under Harit Prem Bharat Mahotsav 2022. This one happening from 23rd to 29th of January. Welcome to the first session, which is on IGBC net zero waste rating system. I'm going to deal on. Before we see on the net zero concepts, first let us understand how long does it take for a garbage decompose. Normally we do a lot of waste, right? Why we should divert the waste? You should understand. For example, you see the paper waste. When you do paper waste from office projects, definitely 2 to 4 weeks, we can definitely decompose the paper, that we know. For example, fruits, vegetable waste, peels. How much time it will take? It will close to 1 month to 6 months, depending on what type of waste we are throwing, vegetable waste, right? Coming to the cartons, milk cartons, which we normally see, if you decompose, it takes 5 years time. Coming to cigarette butts, it takes 10 to 12 years for them to become a decomposition. If you take leather products, it takes almost 40 years. If you take our juice cans, aluminum cans like your Coca-Cola or cans, it takes almost 50 years for decomposition. As per WWF, a plastic bag takes 20 years for decomposition. A coffee cup takes 30 years. If you take a water bottle, which normally you carry, it takes almost 450 years to decompose. What it is happening here is, we do a lot of throwing as consumers, right? But we don't think about the future. So we should think a lot of things to divert waste from landfills. If you see the global scenario across the globe, this is a blue one is the population, the red one symbolizes the solid waste that the country is generating. Okay, all countries, 20 countries have been represented here in this graph. Okay, if you see China, India, almost close up actually, and I am giving a 100% of equivalent to population as X. Okay, the country which is equaling the population graph bar, I am putting as X. X is 100%. Okay, if you see India standards 0.75x, whereas China is 0.85x. That means they are generating 0.85x solid waste management with respect to the total population. Whereas when you compare to US, okay, US is generating 3x. That means 3 times its population solid waste generating. Similarly, if you take any country, all countries are above India. Canada 2x. If you take Australia 2x. Okay, all countries, if you see, everything is actually generating more than its population times. But India is the #1 place which can actually an easy target to actually minimize the waste, and we can set an example, a role model to country to the entire world. We should target from 0.75 to maybe 0.5, 0.4 in a very, very staggered manner. That is what we should actually aim for. And definitely, I'm sure that India definitely can do this, because within our genes, we have this kind of reuse, recycle abilities, reduce things in our genes actually. If you see the overall scenario of e-waste normally we never come across actually. When I say e-waste, what means e-waste? E-waste means your batteries, your appliances, your refrigerator components, your fan components, your computer components, your CPU components, your electronic chipboards, all come under e-waste. In 1 year, in 2019, I'm giving an example. Globally, the e-waste generated is close to 53.6 metric tons of e-waste. Can you believe it? Of which only 17.4% is documented. Only 17.4% documented. Do you believe it? How much is the worth? The 17.4% is close to 67 billion USD of raw materials. Okay, that includes aluminum, copper, iron, and several raw materials, which are very, very essential for all our building components. So of course, there's so many discarded elements, like for example, mercury. Almost 50 tons of mercury is there. Then we have HCFs, the gases which is coming from the air conditioning side. So many things. This is one of the area we can also improve upon. Next is when you see the organic waste. Who are responsible for the food waste, according to you? Any guesses? We consumers, definitely. So when you see the different typologies, residential, 44% we do the waste, food waste. Restaurants, we leave a lot of food, right? 33% almost. Grocery stores, 11%. Institutions, 10%. Industrial, 2%. Overall, 100%. Whereas the figures from United Nations Environment Program as a food index 2021, the sheet which says that globally we require 5.3 billion tons of food available. It's available for us. Okay, how much waste we do? 931 million tons of waste we do actually. That means almost 17% of the available food. What it meant to the world? It is equivalent to 23 million fully loaded trucks, bumper to bumper, enough to travel, circle our earth 7 times. Can you believe it? That is the amount of food waste we do. So there is a lot of precautions we should take, maybe corrective steps we should take across the globe, not only India, across the globe I'm talking about. So coming to scenario of the construction waste that we talk about building industry. New construction, when you're designing the architects or the civil engineering or engineering, MEP consultants, we do around 32 60 kgs per every square meter of waste, construction waste. Okay. Whereas when you demolish a building, when you pull down an old building, okay, that is almost 300 to 500 kg per square meter. Square meter nothing but around close to 10 square feet. Okay. This is the amount of waste we generate. If it's the country of India overall, annual construction demolition waste is up to 165 million tons per year in as per 2019 figures, in which India has got only 2.3 million tons recycling capacity. What it means is 98.5% we are unable to utilize. We're only able to utilize only 1.5% recycling capacity, which means there is a lot of scope to improve on the recycling capacity. We need to improve the recycling industries. So there is a need for ecosystem or net zero waste. As the chairman said in our introductory, there is a need for ecosystem to build upon in terms of creating demand for products, materials made out of construction waste, demolition waste, or recycling products. Deployment technologies, we should have a green pro eco-label for these products so that these products can actually have more increased in credibility and also due diligence from the third party point of view. Also, we should work closely with state governments to enable policies which get innovation from government and private sector. Address entire value chain in terms of looking at waste to energy, waste to wealth, as chairman rightly said. So we should have a long drawn journey. If you see the challenges currently, as chairman pointed out, mindset of the stakeholders is very, very important. Largely, this recycling industry is unorganized. Segregation is there, but how much segregation we should look at? Recycling facilities not there. We should set up recycling facilities across the country. Of course, finance viability should also be looked at. The journey should be progressive and staggered. IGBC, with the help of almost 50 stakeholders, experts from across the country, under the leadership of Anup Matthew, we developed this net zero waste standard. Okay, we defined the standard. The definition goes like this: a net zero waste for buildings and built environment is one which eliminates diversion of waste being sent to landfills by a multi-pronged approach. Nature-centric design, reducing debris during construction, responsibly handling waste during operation, during construction, and reusing the waste as much as possible and recycling remaining waste. This is a definition we developed, and our net zero waste rating program is actually revolved around these principles. Let us see some principles. First one is reduce principle. I'm talking about design of optimization. When it's a reduce by design, what are the options we have? We should plan, the project team should plan an implementation to minimize the waste as much as possible by design. Okay, how can you do it? For example, compared to conventional design, if you take modular design, modular, I mean the design is such a way that it can be replicated multiple times without much of wastage. Or factory made products. All the waste that is generated will be in the factory, not on the site. Thereby, whatever waste that is generated in the site or factory, they will utilize once again for the production of new materials. Whereas if the same thing is constructed, customized in the site, there will be almost waste of 20 to 25% will be wastage. Those wastage we may or may not be using it, and the right thing, correct? With the experience from the green buildings of almost 2,500 plus green building projects and 8,000 project registrations, what we feel is typically cement has a waste percent of 5 to 8%, whereas reinforcement steel has got almost 10 to 15%. Concrete waste is around 3 to 5%. Similar aluminium 3 to 5%. But all these things, for example, all metals, what you're seeing, even though there is a wastage, we can sell it off almost 100%. That means there is no zero wastage actually. Whereas some other materials like sand, bricks, wood, question mark is there still. So let us see how we address. So one more concept that we talk about is reuse. Reuse has been promoted by green buildings almost 20 years back, right from beginning. Many buildings like GBC building, GBC building, ITC Center, Gurgaon, Wipro building in Gurgaon, Volvo Escher building in Delhi, all are walk the talk in a sense. Why? Because normally when you want to reuse an old material, very few clients will come forward actually. Whereas these clients in 2004 itself, they actually came forward to see that at least 10% of their building materials are reused or refurbished from the other sites. Okay, that is almost, I mean, even they actually taken a design criteria for sourcing 40% of their entire building construction materials within 500 miles or 800 kilometers. If you see one more building, Ashar Volvo building in Delhi, which is almost 2017 building constructed, they were designed by Romy Khosla. All the entire facade, you see, are all wooden structures actually. They sourced from railway action, railway sleepers. You can still see the knots, which are very clearly visible. Exposed, no, completely seasoned actually. So these have been designed such a way that they act as a entire building facade plus shading device to entire building. So that way, the eye for detail for architect, if it is there, they can actually extend the life of old materials to new life. This they're extended to 50 years plus actually. Similarly, but I'm upscaling the old products. For example, they have bottles, plastic bottles. How can I upscale to a new life? You see, left-hand side is an old ambassador car. They converted it into a sofa set. Okay, you see all the old suitcases, what you see 50, 60 years back. Okay, their grandfathers must be using it. They converted it into a beautiful display unit. So likewise, when the architect or the interior designer has got an eye for detail, they can actually use in a multiple ways. For construction, of course, today we are using bottles for the construction purpose. Decathlon, which definitely everybody is aware of. Decathlon is a sports giant. Do you know how they produce their products? They collect all the waste bottles. They make 10 bottles, they extract a yarn and make one cloth for you, one t-shirt. So you can see Decathlon, they very clearly said plastic bottles to yarn to fabric everywhere in their signage. So it's called as eco design principles. They're aiming for going for 100% eco design by 2026. So that is what they're actually believing it, and many companies like this, they are walking the talk. Today, when you talk one more step ahead is green procurement. When an organization has a green procurement as one of the strategy, what do you mean by green procurement? Green procurement, nothing but encouraging procurement of green products and materials for construction of buildings so as to reduce the quantity of virgin materials going to landfills. When I say procurement, the organization has a policy that they're going to use eco-labeled products for the construction. They're going to use products made up of construction demolition waste. That means they may use a paver blocks which are made from construction waste. Okay, they will use rapidly renewable materials. When I say rapidly renewable materials, what do you mean by rapidly? For example, you take teak wood, take 30 years for maturity. Suppose you take a bamboo tree. Bamboo takes how many years? Hardly 3 to 5 years maximum. Eucalyptus hardly 4 years. So when the architect designs the wooden products which are made from bamboo, made from eucalyptus, they are called as rapidly renewable materials. So that also be encouraged. Solid category, once again the same thing. Reuse of old materials which are about to go to landfill, you are giving a new life to those materials. This is called solid materials. Alternate materials, nothing but, for example, you are taking river sand. River sand today not possible, not available. Okay, then what are the other things? Today we are doing manufacturing sand for a building construction. Some projects have been crushing their own stones in the site and using for the alternate use of sand. These are nothing but alternate construction materials. Similarly, engineered wood, instead of using timber, they can use recycled wood for their products. Similarly, bio-based materials like pulp, paper, agro-waste, coconut fibers have been used for making different furnitures actually. One more criteria that we introduced in this net zero waste is sustainable demolition. What we aim at is demolish old structures sustainably and maximize resource efficiency, thereby reducing the quantity of waste going to landfills. The first fundamental thing is you should utilize the demolition waste in buildings. In case, what is the true green building? If we're able to retain the existing building as it is, that's called really true green building. Why? Because it has taken all the resources for 40, 50 years. Once again, you're pulling down completely and going for a new virgin resources. That means you're putting more dependency on the virgin resources. Instead, if you can able to reuse the old items, old demolished items to a new building, that will be truly green building, sustainable green building actually. Not only this one, how much you're going to reuse, balance leftover, try to send to recyclers. You identify recyclers and try to send to recyclers, proper recycling, so that there's an opportunity to develop recycling in multiple cities. Not only this one, during construction, you should have a responsible segregation. See, everybody says we are segregating dry waste, wet waste during construction, so many waste. But how much percentage is done responsibly? What we want is you should appoint a dedicated team to oversee segregation and handling. Segregation appears to be very simple, but a complicated activity. So we want all the project team heads to take it very, very seriously. And you are young, you're a young student, so definitely you understand the implementation of these things in the construction. So when you say construction waste, there are two things basically. Once you see the construction waste is generated, you should do reuse and recycle. So when you handle responsibly in terms of adopting best practices for reusing, first of all, what you did is you did a reduce by going for a modular design, by going for a prefabricated items. Then you're going for using a BIM technology so that you understand what is the waste percentage, right? Then you have done a waste generation on the site. Then what are two things you will do? You can reuse or recycle, two things. So both things you should facilitate on the site to balance construction waste through authorized recyclers. So we have done a very, very research with a lot of architects and experts and come out with this kind of a grouping system. There are three groups: group 1, group 2, group 3. In a construction scenario, as architects, engineers, you know that all the metals like GI, aluminum, steel, copper, whatever is generated, definitely 100% of them will be recycled. That means sell to your recyclers. If you're not selling out, somebody will come and sell it off. 100%, right? That means for group 1, there is a low weightage. Whereas you see group 2, group 3, these materials are by default goes to landfill actually. Definitely goes to landfill. 90% of them go to landfill. What our strategy is that these group 2, group 3 materials, we want to divert from landfills. The projects which do diversion of these group 2, group 3 will have a highest weightage in our rating system. For example, glass, packaging, ceramics, paint materials, gypsum, ceiling partitions, wooden-based materials, soil, sand, gravel, bricks, masonry, cement, RMC. So these are materials which in our rating system has got a highest wages by diverting. So this principle we have followed to facilitate recycling and construction demolition waste through a responsible handling so as to reduce the waste going to landfill and related environmental impacts as avoided. Let me give an example. Okay, I'm taking a residential project which is a close to 22 acres of site area and close to 37.5 lakh square feet and 10 towers. I'm giving a scale actually, scale of the project, so understand. And this project has got a typical waste, typical materials like steel, wood, glass, false ceiling blocks, tiles, paint, cement bags, aluminum, packaging, RMC, marble, granite, like this is of materials. The waste generated by them, they declared it, okay? They have got 144 tons of steel wastage, granite, 100 tons of granite waste, 50 tons of marble waste like this, 0.69 tons of aluminum waste, okay? What it is, how much percentage the reuse they're showing here? They're saying that 15 tons of steel is reused within the same site, whereas 129 tons which is left over has been recycled, given to recycling, they may sold off. That means 100% it is diverted from landfill, okay? Let's see a scenario of blocks. Blocks, they have generated 48 tons, whereas 35 tons of blocks have been reused in terms of filling or some way they must have used, right? Whereas still some portion, 13% portion is sent to landfills. Okay, that also can be avoided in different fashion, but they are sent to landfills. So overall, if you see, the reuse percentage is 54%, whereas the recycling percentage is 34%. That means 34% of the materials have been sent to recyclers. Overall, 88% of the materials have been diverted from the landfills. Only 12% of the material have been sent to landfills. That way, this particular sheet is called as master sheet for the zero waste. This should be done by a authorized third-party waste auditor. Should have been hired by the project team to do this one. So we have a very simple, complex equation. Quantity of waste to be to the landfill is equal to quantity of waste generated minus quantity of waste reused plus quantity of waste recycled. So if you take the same example, what is the total waste to the landfill? It is waste generated is 403 tons minus how much it is reused within the same site, it is 217 tons. And how much it is recycled? 137 tons. How much is sent to landfills? It is 49 tons is sent to landfills, right? 12%. That means ideal scenario for us is should be 0 actually. But whatever is possible, it is only approximate number. There are 3 thresholds in the net zero waste rating program. One is called as near net zero waste. That means project is able to divert 75% of the waste from the landfills. It's called as near net zero waste. Whereas project which does 80% of the waste diversion of the landfill will be net zero waste project. That means this particular project will fall under which bracket? Net zero waste. Whereas projects which are able to aim for more than 90% of the waste diverted from landfill is called as net zero waste platinum, which will be global leadership. So like this, there are 3 different levels of rating systems available. So where this rating system is applicable, for example, let's say stakeholder, you are the owner of the building, okay? So as a owner, you have a complete control of the building, right? Design, construction. Plus, after 1 year, 2 years, still operation also is in your own hands only, right? Then the scope will be all 3 stages: design, construction, operation. Let's say now you become a developer. So as a developer, the only control you have is design and construction. After that, somebody will come and occupy the premises, like a core and shell, right? You will be giving to some different tenants. There will be tenants will be changing 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the line. So what is the scope? It is the operation phase. Next one, it's called tenant operation. The tenant can actually come under operation phase. So this particular rating has got 2 verticals. One is called design and construction, where owner, developer can actually apply. Whereas operation phase, a tenant or a owner can also apply the operation phase. So these are 2 criteria applicable for this particular rating programs. So you may ask, what are the benefits of going this net zero waste? One, definitely you are going to comply for the national and international standards on quality and environmental performance related to products and materials. And also you are actually increasing the green products and materials. You are actually decreasing the dependence on the virgin resources. On the one side, you are improving the health and well-being of the occupants, because at the end of the day, whom you are designing for? You are designing for occupants. So health and well-being of the occupants also taken care by, because you are going for a eco-labeled products. You are reducing the material consumption because you are reusing this. You are reducing the design. You are recycling. You are giving to recycling, right? You are also reduction the costs associated with the waste handling and disposal. And also there is an opportunity to convert waste to energy or waste to wealth. Options enormous. And the brand image of the organization being environmentally conscious will be number 1. So let me give an example. So you may that is all very, very simple goals, right? But the contribution to the climate change, the contribution to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, let us see it. The UNEP, United Nations Environment Program, says the climate an action note, which shows that a global state of climate emergency and development. This has been published 9th November 2021. You see all the squares, all countries, okay? The GSE, global greenhouse gas emissions, are choking around the world, right? Since 1990. All these numbers, colors are there. One is a blue color, gray, and orange, yellow, right? This blue means the GSE emissions are lower than 1990. That means the countries are doing much better. Whereas the gray color are stagnant. Whereas the orange color have been doing much more emissions actually. This actually,
Praveen,
yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, Praveen. You have 5 minutes. Would request you to wrap up in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So you see this graph. Today, the scenario is like this. Today, there's a plan, and this action plan, the status today. You see so many countries actually implementing the action. You see darker blue, already the countries have been achieved the status. They self-declared it that their actually emissions have been controlled within the limits with respect to 1990. Whereas the light blue color are the countries which have a policy in document and have been declared that they're going to follow this action plan to mitigate the GHG emissions or the climate goals. And the yellow ones, orange ones are proposed and have a target in mind. And the gray ones are right now don't have the target. So definitely all countries, why I'm showing this graph is all countries have been working towards the climate goals. And Mr. V. Suresh, the chairman of IGBC, told that all we should work towards the climate goals 2030 and 2050. So that's it. And before my ending, I'm just going to show you that we have a training program coming up who are interested participants. It's an exclusive training program of green interiors scheduled from February 22nd, 24th. You can just note down. So it will be an online training programs. who are interested, this will actually give a more opportunity for the professionals to actually come out as a consultant and also contribute to the green building movement. Thank you so much. Let us move forward to the zero waste lifestyle. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Thank you, Puneet.
Outstanding presentation, Praveen.
Thank you,
You
sir.
did
Thank
very
you.
well. I'm sure it will be taken forward by Puneet. Puneet?
Puneet, go ahead, Puneet.
Puneet should come in.
Puneet was there till now, I think.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Praveen. Thank you very much. Some connectivity is making an issue. Thank you, Praveen. Such a vast insight you have been given on a net zero energy, and especially the SDG framework and the chart which has been focusing on the emissions, that who all countries are been still enhancing the emissions, and then who have been in a cut short. Thank you very much for this insight, Praveen. Now I would request my another speaker, Ms. Krishna Krishna Priya, who's been the Senior Manager Business Development of Sahas Zero Waste. Krishna Priya is having 6 years of experience in the business development, and he's also been from the green building industry, focusing on the sustainability and a very brief instinct in the incubating tech-based startups. Over to you, Krishna Priya. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Puneet. And hi, everyone, and welcome for the session. And thanks, Mr. Suresh, for setting the context very well to understand what are the goals that we are supposed to achieve, and Mr. Praveen for giving a very comprehensive understanding of how the rating systems are working. Am I audible?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, please go ahead.
Great, thank you. I'm just sharing my screen. Just let me know whether it's visible.
Sure. Krishna Priya, it is visible. You may make it to the full screen.
Yes.
Yeah, loud and clear. Go ahead.
Great. So welcome everyone again, and I represent Sahas Zero Waste here, and we are an organization who are looking as a mission statement to create a zero waste world through circular economy, and we have heard a lot on circular economy and what zero waste is about. So the main key takeaway that you will be looking at the session is to understand how in a built environment, how to set this process and how this can be achieved.
Yeah, now it's good.
Yes. I think there's a bit of lag, Puneet. So.
Yes, it is. There is a lag.
Yes.
Yeah, we are on the second slide. Sahas Zero Waste.
Okay, so we are a social enterprise and we offer end-to-end waste management solutions. When I say end-to-end, we start right from understanding what is the client requirement, what is the status of the client and what they are having, whether they need hand-holding in understanding how to set up the binning system for the campus, right from there until diverting all of the waste to the right end destination. So we make it end-to-end, and we have the expertise to handhold any facility or project for the same. And we work on our guiding principles, of course, circular economy and the sustainable development goals, just like Praveen has discussed. So as in the previous slide, we would have seen from Praveen that there is a lot of an organized sector that's running around in the waste management business, and more than 90% of whatever waste is there is getting collected and diverted by the informal sector. And that is where we are thinking that this status quo needs to be changed. And we believe that, and we are setting an example by setting up a thriving model based on principles of circular economy and ethical sustainable waste management systems. So when you talk about circular economy in terms of waste management, then what exactly is circular economy and how does that relate to waste management? So here it is nothing but bringing back whatever resources that is getting generated, whatever, of course, waste is getting generated, to bring it back into the system. See, if there is food waste, Then there is wet waste and food waste. The food waste can be either composted or biogas, and that compost and biogas can be taken back into the system. So compost can be used for plants and biogas will be utilized as an energy. So just like that, there are other waste resources that are coming in, which is paper, plastic, metal. And of course, if it is properly channelized, it can be again brought back into the system rather than ending up in the landfill. And that is what circular economy means to waste management. So very briefly, what are the various solutions that Saha Zero Waste as an organization is offering? So our prime or flagship program is the Zero Waste program, where we offer waste management to campuses, which is the Zero Waste program that we will be talking about, and how a facility can achieve zero waste in the forthcoming slides. And we also conduct zero waste events. We're making an event zero waste where we help them in segregating at the source of the event and diverting it to the right end destinations. And then we also have a consultancy vertical where we work with both government and non-government organizations, both locally and globally, in conducting studies in terms of waste management and giving recommendations and policy making. Apart from that, we also bring projects and help them to achieve zero waste certifications. The second important vertical is the extended producer responsibility, which is primarily the plastic and electronic waste. And we are centrally authorized to handle both plastic and electronic waste in terms of APR. And so the really closing the loop solution that we have is recycled products. So whatever waste that is getting generated gets recycled into different products through different channels. So there are different products that are made out of paper, out of plastic, out of textiles. And we also offer sustainable construction materials, which can be used in place of a regular construction material, where this construction materials will be made out of waste, which has an equally good life, a shelf life, just like your other construction materials. So now, seeing all that, let us see what does the law has to say for bulk waste generators. Yeah, so so there's track and traceability that we offer, which is data tracking, data monitoring, digitized financial transaction, biometric attendance. So we give a formal setup for people to work. So as I had discussed, there was an unorganized sector, and we are trying to change that into a formal system. And we are soon hoping that waste management will attract an industry status, and we are slowly moving towards that. And we see a lot of traction within the system where my mainstream discussions just like this is happening for waste management. And we also have infrastructure named as the material recovery facilities. Of course, this is there in multiple states with multiple different models. So material recovery facilities basically enhance the capacity with which the waste can be segregated. So I can also show you a small video at the end of the session to understand how does an MRF work. So what does the law say? So we have the MSW notifications 2016, and that has clearly stated that bulk waste generators should have decentralized model for managing their waste. By decentralized, we mean that any waste that is getting generated should be managed within the facility. So if, and we have a criteria or a threshold here, 5,000 square meters, a property which is more than 5,000 square meters should definitely have or demarcate space for waste management. And so is the case with special economic zones and industrial clusters. So with that, we also emphasize the very fact that decentralized waste management is the key. So when you are generating waste at your site, if you're managing it at the source, and that is the best possible solution that you can think about for effective waste management and effective resource recovery. Now, if you have to have resource recovery to the optimum potential, then decentralization is the key. And we recommend all the projects that or any green building projects that they are going into should definitely imbibe all of this during the design stage, because the major gap that we can think here in the system is that waste management is not addressed during design stage. Waste management is getting addressed only after a tenant occupies or after owner occupies, and during operational phase is when people put foremost focus on waste management. But it should be the other way around. You should start addressing it when the design is happening, and you get expert opinion and understand what infrastructure works best there. Now, being said that, we'll quickly jump into understanding what are the major steps that you have to take in order to make your facility a zero waste facility. So these are broadly, we have just summarized whatever we have learned in the past 8 years. And these are all tried, tested, and implemented methods. And this can definitely lead you to the road towards zero waste. So the first and foremost thing that we would like to discuss would be the leadership commitment. So for any facility to have great resource recovery and proper sustainable waste management system, leadership commitment is the foremost important rule that is needed, because it's a top-down approach. So rather than from bottom up, it's always a top-down approach. When the leadership's committed towards having sustainable practices within the campus, then the achievement will be multiple fold. So now the leadership should be confident of what circular economy is, and they should put in place a zero waste policy for the facility, which will be later trickle down to the bottommost stakeholder of the organization. So leadership commitment is the key for any campus to have a zero waste policy in place. Next important thing is, of course, that everyone have a great understanding, but it's always good that people can reach out to experts for spearheading the whole journey towards zero waste. Now you can go on for any service provider just like Sahas, whom you think that will fulfill your commitments, and you can reach out to them. You can understand what is the best practice that they can offer you, and you can implement the recommendations that they are given. So you have to, it happens in sync with a service provider or an expert or a solid waste management expert. So these two are important factors and prime key factors. Next is, after understanding that you have a partner or a service provider, then you have a team, you have an in-house team. So which team needs to be aligning with all the policies that you have framed. So we saw that in stage 1, we are creating a zero waste policy. Now that policy should be aligned with all the key team members, and they should work and help all the other stakeholders in your campus to achieve this. Now you have to get all the team. So now when you talk about waste management, it's not just a few people who are getting involved. So the stakeholders, so anybody who is generating waste will become a stakeholder in waste management. So right from your leadership team until your housekeeping team, anybody who is visiting your campus, everybody is a stakeholder, and stakeholder engagement is also an important key. So the fourth stage is that after you set up a team, you have a service provider, you have an expert to help you, and after all that, you have to start somewhere. Now, in order to start something, you have to understand what your existing practices are, and for that, you definitely need an audit in place. Now, you audit what is your existing practice, what is the current practice that you're having for waste management. Then you assess where you are, what is the status, and all of that, and based on your vision that you have created. Now you will validate where you are, which stage you are. Say maybe you're in a very nascent stage, or you are halfway there to your zero waste goal. So you have to understand where you are, and then post that you should design implementation model for achieving whatever your goals are. So if your goal is that you have 97% diversion, then you have to see where you are. Right now you're 50%. Then you have to work towards achieving the 96%. And this audit will definitely help you to understand where you are and how to take it to the next stage. Next is create an implementation team. So we have already seen that we will put a core team for this. And after that, you need different stakeholders in different departments to establish the different roles and responsibilities and implement it to their respective teams. Right from infrastructure setting and ongoing operations. So understand everything that you need an implementation team who will go on the ground and do what your vision or goal or your road is to. So if you have a target of 96%, then these teams, individual teams, will work towards moving the whole campus towards that. And next comes your setting up the right infrastructure. For any system to function properly, you need right infrastructures in place. And we have through our work understood. Sorry.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead, Krishna Priya.
Yeah. So setting up the right infrastructure. So you should have allocated space for your infrastructure, and there should be proper investment. So there is always a mindset that waste doesn't need a lot of money to get to be put into for managing it rightly. So, but it's the other way around. You need to have proper budgets in place for having a good system where you can definitely see how much you can recover from whatever you have recovered, because this has both tangible as well as intangible benefits. So the next stage is identify and validate end destination. So now you have to understand. So we always have a tendency that out of sight, then you always have an out of mind tendency. Now, when you have end destinations, you can definitely understand what is happening to the waste beyond your campus. So the waste, once it is going out of your campus, you have the right to go see what is happening to it after that. And you should have people or partners who are ready to show you that when they have hesitance towards sending you are showing you what is happening, then you know what is the ground reality of it. So you should be always confident and be very You have all the rights to ask where your waste is going and to understand what is happening, because you can understand the nitty-gritties of the circular economy that we are talking about on the ground. How is it on the ground implemented? So you can always visit material recovery facilities, if not just us, but any other material recovery facilities that you know of in your states. So you can definitely go out there and request a visit, or any other processing facility which you can show. So always identify and validate whatever you're saying. So validating whatever you have, it's not just that some document is submitted and you just go by it. So you can always have teams. So you have different teams. You have implementation teams. You have core teams. Everyone can do their fair share of understanding what is happening to your waste beyond, because it is our waste. We have to be responsible, and we should have the onus on how accountable we are for our waste. Next comes the important parameter, which is educating the waste generators. Now, in any campus, everyone becomes a waste generator. So stakeholder engagement, communication with them, rigorous training to all of them who are directly involved, so specifically the housekeeping team and the operational team. So all of them need to be rigorously trained on a regular basis, because as Mr. Suresh and Mr. Praveen was saying, so waste management is nothing but behavioral change. We are trying to cultivate a behavioral change in people, which will not come easily. So there needs to be regular engagement with the people until we achieve, and even after we achieve, this has to be sustained. All of this efforts that we are putting has to be sustained in the long run. So regular training for everyone is of utmost importance for this to be executed properly.
Krishna Priya, I would request you to conclude in 5 minutes, please. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, next is monitoring waste segregation. So after you set up everything, now we have infrastructure, we have people who are trained and everything. Now what happens is we will set milestones of what is happening, what should happen at which period. Now this milestone should be reviewed constantly to understand what are the gaps in the system that we have implemented. Now this monitoring will help us understand how this implementation is happening, whether there is a problem in it, whether what is the challenge that we are facing. Now, if this review meetings happen constantly in a timed interval, we will be able to then and there analyze what is the flaw, and we can rectify that. So monitoring whatever we have planned for implementing is also another key thing for having an excellent waste management system in place. And then the last thing is that we have to work collectively. Just like we said, we're all stakeholders in waste management. So anybody who is generating waste becomes a stakeholder automatically. So everyone should be committed. And it's always nice that you identify and incentivize people within your organization or facility so that people are committed towards it. Of course, it's until that the behavioral change come in, we incentivize certain things. So that is something very important. Incentivizing doesn't really have to be in monetary terms. It can also be appreciations, rewards, and things like that, which can boost their focus in having proper and sustainable waste management system. And you can form an waste champions within your facility, and this can be applicable. So the system or the steps that I have explained here is or can be applicable for any facility. It's not a facility or any residential property or anything for that matter. These steps will still be there. And for a built environment, now we can assess where we are and we can minus a few steps, plus a few steps. But this is what the broad categories of framework which is needed for achieving a zero waste campus. A few glimpses of how our facility looks like, and we have on-site operations as well. These are our wet waste facilities which are happening on-site, and this is stakeholder engagement thing that we are doing to our client locations. And we have a very quick 2-minute video. Punit, you just say whether the audio is good.
Yeah, it is audible.
At Saha Zero Waste, we have a round-the-clock operation where we manage waste that is generated at source. So around 6 tons of waste is collected from all our client locations all across Bangalore. This waste is then moved by trucks during the night when the city sleeps. This waste is moved to our factory.
So when the material is unloaded here, the first step is the feeder, where all the material is fed into the conveyor system. The next step is on top platform, where the segregation actually happens.
प्लास्टिक अलग करते हैं, कड़क भी अलग करते हैं, दूध पेपर अलग करते हैं, कप अलग करते हैं.
So each person handles around 4 to 5 different categories. So the bulkier items like tissue paper, color paper, multi-layered packaging are thrown down in those bays down there. And the smaller items like milk packets, coconut shells, and other smaller items are collected on top in the bags itself. So once the segregation is completed, the next operation is baling operation, which is where we compress all the segregated material to form big cubes. And this helps us optimize our storage and transportation costs. And in the similar format, it is dispatched to all the end destinations of the authorized recyclers. It's a mechanized, uninterrupted factory where waste is managed and resources are recovered from waste.
Our tagline and our belief is that we've got to manage waste working with nature, people, and technology.
Yeah, so that was our material recovery facility, which is there in Jigni, and we are managing 10 tons of dry waste per day. And this is, of course, open for visit minus the pandemic. Due to the pandemic, we are not offering visits at the moment. But if there is anything in future, you can definitely reach out to us for any visits. And not just our facility, you can visit any of the material recovery facilities which are available in your vicinity. So all the stages that we have set or seen so far, the 10-step process for achieving a zero-waste campus. So this is one of our prestigious clients, which is EcoWorld Brookfield Properties in Bangalore, which we had implemented all of the stages. And they were, when we began with them, they were at a 60% landfill rate, which is they had diverted 60% of the waste to landfill. And now they are at a 6% diversion after rigorous training and implementation of all of these key processes. We were able to bring them to 94% resource recovery rate, wherein only 6% of the waste that is getting landfilled, and we are trying to bring that even further down. And this is the first commercial complex in India to achieve a global status in terms of for all of the commitment that they have done in terms of waste management. And this can't happen overnight, and it needs consistent efforts. And we took them in this journey for almost 5 years now, and now they have achieved and shined for the exemplary performance. Thank you.
Thank you, Krishnapriya. Thank you very much, and such an inspiring thoughts of starting from a 1, 2, 3, going up to the 10. All the process-oriented things, and it's good to see that your projects, which has been going for, you are helping projects to reduce the landfills and making the waste went to the right recyclers. That's been very, very critical and important looking at the current scenarios. So thank you very much for this wonderful presentations. Yeah, before I would invite our next speaker, Mr. Jaydeep Saptarshi, I would request to all our participants who have been there joining us, listening this session, may please put their questions or queries either in the chat box or in a Q&A box. And after the presentation of Jaydeep, we would take all the questions forward. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Now, it's been my pleasure to invite our next speaker, Mr. Jaydeep Saptarshi. And Saptarshi has been having an experience of more than 2 decades. He's been the winner of a national and international awards on innovative sustainable technologies. He's an entrepreneur. And without moving ahead or going more into detail of Mr. Jaydeep, let's hear directly from him. Over to you, Mr. Jaydeep. We have 15 minutes. Thank you. Mr. Jaydeep, we can see a presentation. Yeah, but we can't hear you.
He is muted, I think.
No, just hold on.
Yeah, please.
Am I?
Yeah, now audible. But your presentation.
You're well audible.
But your presentation is not there. Presentation is gone.
Jaideep, you may disengage the slide
Yeah.
and share it again.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it is coming up. You can make it to the.
Yeah.
Yes, it is there. Yes, you're well audible.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Puneet, and thank you, IGBC, for providing this opportunity today on waste management. So my presentation is on eco-friendly organic waste management, to be specific, on-site waste management. So I'll be starting with an overview of waste management in India. And throughout the world, more than half of the waste in landfills is organic waste and usually packed in plastic bags. And this contributes directly to the pollution of the soil and global warming. India is actually losing around 1250 hectares of land every year due to landfills. But why is waste carting to landfills a preferred option? One of the reasons is due to the NIMBY syndrome, which is the not in my backyard syndrome, due to the perception that on-site composting causes foul odor, infestation, occupies large spaces, has high operating costs, and there is a generally perception of a high failure among composting systems. So let us define what is composting. On-site composting is the accelerated and controlled decomposition of waste using bacteria and or composting worms. The advantages of on-site composting is that waste that is disposed of at source of generation saves on transportation costs to waste landfills, and it reduces the carbon footprint. Composting completes nature's loop by converting waste into nutrient-rich compost that goes back into the soil. To assist all stakeholders to make the right choice on composting, the Government of India, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, has released an advisory on on-site and decentralized composting. This document has been released by Honorary Minister Sri Hardeep Singh Puri, and it has been created by CPHEEO, that is the technical wing of the Urban Ministry. Now, the objective of this government advisory is to have the implementation of Solid Waste Management Rules 2016 to promote on-site and decentralized organic solid waste treatment systems in India, and to bring about disruptive change in the current system of end of the chain waste treatment and make on-site and decentralized organic solid waste systems more common and adaptable. Therefore, you have a 3R approach for waste minimization. What it says is that the most preferred option is waste minimization and sustainable use or multi-use of products. Second most preferred option is recycling, that is processing of non-biodegradable waste to recover recycling commercially valuable materials. The third is composting, which is processing of biodegradable waste to recover compost. Next option is waste to energy, that is anaerobic digestion via biogas plants or RDF. And the last option that is specified is disposal to landfills after recycling and reuse to the maximum extent possible. The key features of this government composting advisory are the technical information on how composting works and how to convert organic waste into compost. This document provides the standards for compost, and it features 32 products in the composting space that have been evaluated for application in an urban environment, ranging from 5 kg per day to 3 tons per day. So any household having a requirement for composting to a large township, all the requirements are catered to in this document. And we are one of the companies listed by the in this advisory as one of the options for providing composting solutions. Vermigold Ecotech is a clean tech waste management technology company based in Mumbai. We design, develop, and market innovative products for organic waste composting. Our range of organic digesters provides our customers a convenient and sustainable way to convert their organic waste into nutrient-rich compost on-site. Our products overcome the drawbacks of traditional composting and deliver high waste processing capacity on minimal footprints. We address the need for an innovative and technologically sound provider of environmentally sound technologies. Our global award-winning products deliver real benefits to the end user and the environment. We are part of the CII ACE 2021 Clean Tech Accelerator Program. Our system has been featured by the Government of India, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs in their advisory on decentralized composting as part of the Swachh Bharat mission. We have won the prestigious Energy Globe Award from India that is considered to be the Oscars of the environment industry. And we are the only Indian company featured by UNEP in their database of environmentally responsible system suppliers. The system has also won the Australian Good Design Award for Design Engineering Excellence. So these are some of the awards which we have won. There are three components in the system. The organic digester, which is an in-vessel continuous flow composter. Then there are composting worms inside the digester to process the waste and convert it into compost. And there is an organic waste shredder. Let's take a look at how the system works. First, the organic waste is loaded into the shredder machine. Then this waste pulp is loaded into the digester. The compost output is automatically expelled into tubs at the bottom. Let's take a deep dive into the design concept. As you can see, this is a fully containerized solution for organic waste processing. Inside the digester, there are triangular cells where the waste decomposition actually happens in an accelerated and controlled manner. The cell design is optimized for maximum aeration of the mass inside the cells, and this results in no foul odor generated. The process cycle time for converting organic waste to fully mature compost is 8 to 10 days. The digester has a storage capacity of 12 to 15 days of decomposing waste. That means one can operate the system every day for waste processing. There are tubs at the bottom where the expelled compost is stored internally up to a period of 15 days. What makes our system a preferred choice for our customers? Award-winning green technology, no foul odor, compact, low footprint required, can be installed at open areas as well as underground basements, made from robust materials, long service life, there is 90% waste reduction and nutrient-rich compost is generated, low operating costs, low power consumption, no greenhouse gases generated, low carbon footprint, no leachate formation, and zero toxic discharge. The target market for our product is bulk waste generators, those who generate more than 50 kgs of waste per day, up to 2 to 3 tons of waste per day, and would like to install an on-site organic waste disposal system. These include residential complexes, hotels, resorts, IT parks, industrial canteens, and institutions such as clubs and colleges. These customers typically install such systems for compliance with MSW 2016 rules that specify bulk waste generators to install on-site organic waste disposal systems. It could also be a combination of compliance and sustainability requirements if organizations are looking to install systems for their corporate sustainability requirements. So these are some of our customers including Unilever, Infosys, National Stock Exchange, Mahindra Life Spaces, Titan, and many others all across India. So now coming to some of our installations, this is at the Unilever head office in Mumbai. This is a gold-rated green building, and this is the system has been operational at Andheri, Mumbai now for more than 10 years. This is another platinum-rated green building complex at Infosys Mysore. This is their training facility. This is a resort in Goa. This is a residential complex in Bangalore again. And with this, I would like to end my presentation. And if any of the audience would like to have any queries regarding selection of composting systems. I'm glad to answer all their queries. Yeah.
Thank you, Jaideep. That was a really short and a crisp presentation.
Yes.
And it's actually glad to know that your system has been installed in the 24/7 office buildings, residential complexes, normal office spaces, even resorts and hotels. So nice of you. I would request you to kindly disengage the screen.
Yes. Yes.
And with this, I would also request all my listeners, all the attendees here, in case they wish to ask any questions directly to our speakers, be it Praveen Soma, Krishna Priya, and Jayadeep, please use chat box and the Q&A section very liberally. We would love to take as many questions as possible. Yeah. So before starting with the start of our Q&A, we'll have many of the questions have been raised to Sahas. So I'm coming to Krishna. It says that what are the challenges your team has come across to divert various types of waste in the projects, as still we don't have very much recycler. And subsequent questions related to this, that you collect and process in a factory. What is the next has been done with that waste?
Yeah.
Krishna.
Thanks, Manoj, for the question. And of course, there are a lot of challenges that are there in exploring different solutions for different waste. But the easiest ones to begin with would be paper and plastic, where there are quite a few recyclers across India, which that gets recycled. But there are a lot of requirements or specifications that they expect. So at our MRF, that is what exactly happens. So we segregate all these materials at our MRF2 as per the specification that's expected by a recycler. So that is what we do, and that is how we divert them for recycling. And of course, there are quite a few challenging waste streams. As Mr. Praveen was discussing the construction and demolition waste, there are a lot of queries which are happening with small scale renovations. You get a lot of gypsum, there's the thermocol waste, and certain streams are still difficult for us to handle. And we see what is the best possible solution that is available. And there are also composite materials. See, without any prior understanding or something, people usually procure composite items. Now, when you talk about composite materials, there is no, while I mean composite, there are 2-3 materials imbibed together. See, there was one such aluminum foil that was observed that was used for HVAC purposes, and that had both PVC, aluminum, as well as foam. So it's a composite material. Now you have to go an extra mile and understand how you can segregate all three, because all three has different end destinations. So PVC goes in for plastic recycling, aluminum goes in for metal recycling, and foam goes in for energy recovery. Now, so you have to go that extra mile and understand what can be done. And we buy time from our clients to understand what is the best possible solution and figure out to the best of the ecosystem's availability. We try to crack a good solution for any such waste stream. So that is a key challenge or strength is what I can say.
Yeah, thanks, Krishna. And I believe that would also answer the question posed by Gaurav, that what would be any specific way to handle the waste or whether to make it as scrap. That's been fairly nice. Now, as you mentioned that there have been many of the recyclers which have been available, but I believe the awareness has been somehow lacking about those recyclers. So I'm coming to Praveen, that what is the role IGBC can play in developing awareness for proper segregation of a waste, about these recyclers or anything, and for among all the stakeholders in this particular movement? Praveen.
Thank you, Praveen. See, this awareness on the segregation of waste, we have been doing right from beginning, actually. Okay, right from beginning, the first building, GBC building onwards, we have been having this segregation of waste as a mandatory requirement. Okay, all these green building projects, we have close to 8,000 plus reset projects, 2,500 plus certified projects have been following this right from beginning, the design and also execution, because this is a post-operation future. That means once the building is done, they have to follow these segregation of waste, dry, wet waste plus e-waste, and also depending on the building typology, the segregation of waste also should be done. For example, if it's a hospital waste plus hazardous waste also should be handled. So how can you create awareness? So see, it is actually not just a government. Some of the general public in Bangalore, let's say for example Bangalore 4 or 5 years back, many of the corporates, I mean, they should buildings, I mean, they should dump the waste in their villages. So the villages actually put a ban on the entire city level actually. That means cities trucks will not enter the village level. So then government has taken decision that every household in an apartment should have a OWC machine. That means they should treat their waste within the same campus only. It has only happened in Gujarat, Bangalore. Whereas it may happen to every city at every tier 2, tier 3 cities also in future. I think we should actually follow the principle that we should segregate waste and treat within our own premises as much as possible.
Yeah, thank you, Praveen. That was quite a short and a crisp thought.
It's a voluntary initiative. It cannot be forced.
Yeah, it has been voluntary and it cannot be forced. Rightly mentioned, you mentioned that these everything should be segregated and treated there. But I'm coming to Jaideep, that we have been seeing that many of the green projects installed OWC to treat the wet waste. And this is a genuine, I also wanted to know that after 1 or 2 years, these machine is kept ideal for many reasons. Huh? What would be your recommendation for the residential societies to run smoothly? Jaideep, you are on mute, I believe.
Am I audible now?
Yes, please.
Yes. See, first of all, what I think is that the key factor for success for any composting system is that somebody at the residence level has to take the ownership of the project. A lot of time what happens is these projects are implemented with a lot of enthusiasm, and after a certain period of time, many of these projects, the key stakeholders, some of them might lose interest, and so that could be one of the reasons. The secondly, it all depends on what is the system being installed, what are the technical parameters of the system that has been installed. Is this a system that is essentially having high operating costs? Because some systems are not functioning because they have very high operational costs. So it really depends on multiple factors. It also depends whether they have appointed a facility management agency to actually operate this system, or have they appointed the designated operators. So there are multiple factors why a lot of systems are not operational. So there is no one silver bullet answer for all these things here.
Thanks, Jaideep. Thank you very much. You have rightly pointed out the various challenges. Well, coming to Krishna Priya, and see, we have been seeing the projects in the commercial properties. Yeah. So, but residential, who's been contributing a lot in terms of a building setup and generating the waste. What is your views for going zero waste in a residential community? How you are able to create awareness at a society level?
Sure. Yeah, that's a very interesting question, Punit, because at least in corporates, there is a commitment for sustainability, whereas in residential projects, they don't have that sort of commitment. And there is a lot of people, and all of them are decision makers there in a residential setup. Whereas in a corporate setup, you just have the leadership team who makes the decision. But when you come to residential sector, that is what the challenge is. You have to convince everybody. And that is why we encourage that we build in waste champions. So we identify people who are really committed for the cause, and we build in champions within the residential community who will be our ambassadors in implementing proper segregation. And just to add to your previous question, which was addressed to Praveen, so whether the systems that they are going to implement at the site, now that decision should be well informed to everyone. So whoever is going to implement, they should have a well informed decision before they implement any system. And that is, I think, the major flaw which is being seen at the system, because they buy and procure and keep some equipment, and they want us to handle it when it comes to operations. So it should be that case. So during design stage, they should understand how a system works and then implement, and then from there it comes into segregation awareness and then proper implementation at the site.
Thank you, Priya. The one thing, sorry, you can keep listening those bells. Yeah, I'm sorry for my part. But when we have been talking about that one should be well informed. So my question, I'm just repeating the question from Joysha to Jaideep, that what is the economics to putting in a decentralized system versus centralized systems?
Okay. Now, from my understanding, the definition of a centralized system is something that is put up by a municipality, say a city level scientific landfill or a waste processing facility. which consumes to tens of thousands of households. I mean, this a centralized facility typically caters to a population of several lakhs or several crores. Okay, whereas a decentralized facility is something that is at a very household level, and it ranges from, say, it could range from one household to, say, a township of, say, 3,000 households. So this is the definition of decentralized composting as per the government norms. Now, firstly, as has been pointed out, there is a law for bulk waste generators who are generating more than 100 kg of waste per day to dispose of the waste on site. So now what happens is there is a legislation where the government wants to reduce the waste that is going to these landfills. It might be it is actually, if you see, carting is it's quite low cost to the generator, but there are significant other costs of processing. And currently in all major cities in India, not much scientific waste processing is being done at centralized dumping grounds. These are not scientific landfills as they are there in the Western countries. So you really cannot compare a decentralized system with a centralized system, because here the government really wants to dispose of the waste at the source of generation, so that there are multiple savings in transportation, which actually reduces the carbon footprint, and there are multiple other cost savings that reduce the burden on the urban infrastructure.
Yeah, thanks, Jaydeep. You have rightly mentioned that it's been always been good to have the combination of both the systems, because those have been serving different objectives. Now, as we have been closer to the end, before that, I'm just posing one quick question to Praveen, that as IGBC is going for a net zero waste certification for the building projects, how you are expecting the project maintaining the waste segregation plan and following such processes to maintain the status of a net zero waste? Praveen?
Ideally, Puneet, thank you, Puneet. Ideally, the net zero waste is targeted to projects which are certified green building projects, because for them already the concept is in place. They implemented by design, the following what by mother rating program, right? It can be new building, it can be a green home project, it can be a green factory project. So for them, it will be very easy to implement on the site net zero waste, because for them already they've done the design and construction. So operation phase is easy to implement, so they can have a green procurement in place. Whereas new projects, definitely IGBC can handhold from some projects so that they can actually implement in terms of design and construction if they insist, and we can do a feasibility study along with them, and handhold till the project is certified for some projects as well. Of course, see, net zero waste is not easy actually, as we think. Like net zero energy also, when we launched in 2018, it is still taking some time to actually implement in the ground. So similarly, net zero waste also, it is little steps that actually takes to net zero waste. Directly, we cannot aim for net zero waste immediately, but projects should take a step by step an approach, and definitely they will achieve net zero waste in a letter and spirit. Because it's not about declaration, it is about implementation on site. Like SAHAS, they know what is happening on the site. On the site is entirely different. Like we have seen, it's not about 100%. Definitely, there's still some percentage of waste is there, which is actually going to landfill or incineration process. So we should try to see, and also like Jaydeep Saptarishi told, maintaining organic waste system is also not easy. So we need to have a trained facility team which can help actually the residents also to take up the facility for longer time. It's not about only implementing 1 year, 2 years. For long term, we should look at.
Thank you, Praveen. Thank you very much. And before we come to a close to the program, I have received one query, and I request Chairman Mr. V. Suresh to please throw some light and enlighten the audience, that what the industry.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Puneet. I think it's an important one. Jaydeep has mentioned that. It was nice to hear these organic waste converters. They do 8 to 10 days. Actually, the process does not entail to get it done within the period. What's happening is, once you get the raw biodegradable waste coming over there, it goes through the process. You cannot it takes time. Biological process takes time. Like the delivery takes about 9 months. And like that, similarly, to convert from biodegradable waste to that of a menu one, it takes that particular time period there. What's happening is, there are large inoculum and other things being put over there. You dry it up and bring it down, then the treatment separately. So what's happening? This is continuously being discussed in the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Everybody who comes with the project saying this 15 days, they're all been told very clearly it's not possible. They're all experts in this particular area. The whole process takes exactly 30 days to 35 days time period. What can be done is a stage can be done to bring it down to some level, then shift it to some other place when it really becomes a one. It doesn't mean that with the same, because it's all a matter of space being created for converting the raw what's called degradable waste, common food waste or whatever, to getting compost. We cannot get that into a compost form within that particular process. Unless we have intermediate process to get this transferred to some other area, it's a matter of additional space being created to deal with that. So uniformly now, all the projects that have been, I'm a member of the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change for all the EA clearance. Very clearly it has been told over there that it is that of the order between 30 to 35 days would be the time required for full conversion taking place. But within your particular thing, you can have 1 or 2 stages by which we can bring that down through temperature treatment, other related treatment to a level, then again push it back to another one. So many people are putting a 15 days time period and another 15 days time period. Then you don't use this particular one panel for quite some time and then put the next particular panel, use it, by which time this one will get changed over there. I'm sure Jaideep has invited that. We'll be happy to discuss. I'm sure we'll discuss. Now is not the time to open up this Q&A problem, but I thought it's better that we, since there's a large group hearing that, we should not get out of this room, the whole thing into biodegradable waste. 8th day, the whole thing will come down as manure. No, it doesn't happen. So clarity is needed. There are intermediate processes coming over there. I'm sure Jay agree to what I'm trying to say. We will discuss offline, unless you want it or a half a minute on that.
Yeah, I just respond.
Having raised that.
In short, just give me please a minute. Basically, what we have done is our process is 100% natural, and by design engineering, we have reduced the cycle time. And one of our installations was even audited by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs when they included us in among the list of 32 products that are have been featured for composting. So I can always explain. I can go. We'll take it offline as to how our process does it. You know.
Right, Jaideep, right, Jaideep. I completely agree. There are certain processes, and there's sometimes a technological.
Yes.
But it's been fine. So this is the time when we have been.
No technology can be only Jaideep. No technology can reduce that particular process. It's a natural, organic process that will take place there. That takes the time. You know what is happening is you can put inoculant being put over there to faster make that particular one over there, or you can dry it up to some level or some heat treatment component because of your process will be there. But you're only burning that particular thing partly over there, you know, but a natural process will take time. That's exactly what I'm trying to indicate. So all the new projects which are coming for approval into the MO, Ministry of Environment, for all large projects come for the approval there. They got to provide that particular thing in a 2-stage one. So they put one, they put it here, then leave it after 15 days. You have a parallel one coming over there into that particular thing, load it there. By which time the 1 month period for this will be completely converted into manure and change over. So the message should directly go. It just requires a scientific reply to the particular thing, which is what the experts in this particular thing have already told from the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs are not the experts to deal with this particular thing. I am from that particular one, having been in HUDCO. The experts on this particular are from the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and they are the one who create all the waste management rules over. You're aware of it. All the waste management rules, including construction demolition waste, including all the biomedical waste, all rules are formed by them. So they very clearly brought it out. So kindly go into it. Nothing to discuss upon at this point of time. I'm sure the point I told over there, kindly interact with your team members in depth over there. You'll get an answer on that. With all the waste recycling companies have told this particular information to everybody, that 8 to 10 day rule. Assambal. Okay. Let's leave it at that point of time, and we'll take it forward later.
Sure, sir.
Puneet, we'll leave it at that. Okay.
Sure, sir. Certainly, sir. With this, we have been coming to the end of this the fantastic sessions where we have been seeing.
Just a question from Sandeep. I would like to answer that.
Krishna Priya, we have been running out of time. We are already delayed by 10 minutes. I will not take it one. Yeah, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us together, all the participants. Just a couple of announcements. For this, the Harit Prem Bharat Mahotsav, we have been organizing a series of activities and programs in the next 5 days till 29th of January. Please be with us for the more knowledgeable sessions. And I would like to thank all the speakers, Mr. V. Suresh, Praveen Soma, Krishna Priya, as well as Jaydeep Saptrishi for spending their valuable time. And to the audience, thank you very much for spending a good 90 minutes. Thank you very much. We are closing for the day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Puneet, for a well-run show.
Nicely handled.
Good. And thanks for all the
Thank you, sir.
great speakers. Wonderful.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
for-
Bye.
for being there since the beginning.
It's a pleasure as always. Yesterday, there's so many students, about 50 student chapters are there, around 170 delegates. I'm going to understand Sandeep. Plus, of course, what we have from the other YouTube one, that information will come later. I'm sure it's a very grand one, more so with 450 registrations and all these people. Very, very useful one. And all the three young presenters, you've done a great job. Praveen, as well as Krishna, as well as Jaydeep, all the three have done a wonderful presentation. I think that's the most important aspect. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Right event
Thank
for
you.
the Prem Jain Memorial Trust, the Harit Prem Bharat Mahotsav as part of that event. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very
Video.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sandeep, you may end the meeting, please.